Good morning. I'm at the beach again, my favourite beach. Let's go for a little flight. Let's see. People getting ready for a swim, I think. Let's see what we see on the waves as we zoom past. Hello everybody. Well, the forces of darkness are once again attacking. Stripe deplatformed Tommy's financial ability to raise funds for his MEP run yesterday. And then put him back, or 2 days ago, put him back after a letter from a lawyer, which of course all costs money, which is an expense that, as far as I know, none of the other candidates are having to incur because they're just not under constant attack from the far left. And that's what we've all become. Me, I got deplatformed. We're dissidents. We are exactly analogous to what was going on in the Soviet Union, I won't say in the time of Stalin, because as far as I know, we're not being rounded up and put in gulags, though there's a good argument that Tommy's imprisonment last year, which was, as we can see from the new charges, 100% political, and, the conditions under which they kept him, which were totally illegal, totally wrong. It was a civil offence. They kept him as if he was a high security, violent prisoner, when basically the whole case was wrong, all of that stuff. But even if it had been a correct case and verdict of contempt of court, he should have been in a civil prison. He should have been going home at weekends. He should have had some more money to spend in the shop. None of that he had, so he nearly starved. That's, how does this differ from what Stalin was up to? I mean, I'm really serious. What makes what they did to Tommy different to the old Soviet Union? I'm personally baffled by that. And the whole nature of what we're going through now, where you can be denounced. This is how this works. So we've got these far left organizations who are just denouncing people. They write their little lists and they say so-and-so is a Nazi or so-and-so is a fascist. You can see this in lots of the videos that Avi has done, and Rebel sent someone who I forget her name, but she's making great videos going up and talking to people at Tommy's MEP rallies and saying, what do you think of Tommy Robinson? And without any kind of, it's like immediate, oh, he's a fascist, oh, he's a racist, oh, he's a Nazi. When you ask these people, but can you say anything that he's ever said that's fascist, racist, Nazi? The answer is always, no, not specifically, but he is a racist because he must be, because I've been told that he is. The whole thing is monumentally absurd. And this is the bit that I like, is the cognitive dissonance that most people exhibit. If you ask people, is there some subject that you know more about than the press? Have the press ever written about that one subject that you know more about than they do? And you ask them this, and they all say, everybody knows more about something than the press. I said, what happened when the general press wrote about it? Oh yeah, they got all the significant details wrong. They spoke total bullshit. Okay, but now you believe them when they tell you that Tommy Robinson is a racist, or that Israel goes around killing children deliberately for fun. You believe both of those things, yet everything that you're an expert in, when the press write about it, it's totally and utterly different. That's a level of I've never understood how people can do that. You know that I started my journey into not believing the general press. I guess I was quite young. I went to actually a press conference about a subject that I knew quite a lot about, and I just sat in and I listened to the questions that the press were asking. And the next day I read what the press had written about that press conference and about this subject that I knew more than they did. And I couldn't believe I'd been in the same room as so-called journalists. And this happened to me when I was about 17. It's a long time ago. And I've had a healthy skepticism about the press ever since. And, well, it would appear that I'm right to be skeptical, because nearly every time they write about something I know more about than they do, they're talking total and utter bullshit. There we go. The swimmers are still gathered on the beach, and I'm not sure when they're going to go swimming. But we'll do a nice little orbit. And switching subjects slightly, I'm hoping that I'm going to have a chat on my Google YouTube channel, if I still have it, with someone who actually is a real expert on the real far right. And when I say the real far right, I actually mean the ones I can spot them generally because of their views on Jews and their views on so-called what they call Zionism, which is generally nothing of the sort. And the defining feature for me of the people I will not deal with, will not talk with, will not truck with, is this idea, which is very prevalent, unfortunately, of thinking that you're going to blame all of the problems of your world on Jews. Now, and that means that you've got definitely a far left in this world. I will even say a globalist movement. And I will definitely agree that there are some Jews in it. And I will definitely agree that the establishment Jewish organizations in many Western countries, especially Britain, are absolutely horrific. They're globalists. They believe that the way for Jews to be safe is for everybody to love each other in an open borders mishmash kind of world. And as far as I'm concerned, this is the absolute antithesis of what makes for a healthy world. What makes for a healthy world is strong nations like Israel for Jews. And that's the antithesis of the globalist project, which is why globalists and the far left hate Israel. And you can see this all the time because they're constantly undermining Israel. We've got our own Haaretz and we've got our own far left in Israel who I believe undermine our own country. They don't want us to be living on the ancestral lands of Jews, which is Judea and Samaria, the heartlands of Israel, where a lot of the Bible stories took place. They don't want us there. These are far left Jews. But to say that they are responsible for that entire movement, it's really a tail wagging dog situation if you believe that. And the other thing is that I know, because I know Judaism, and I know that Israel's a much better representation of modern Judaism than the sort of globalist Soros far left. I know that it's not representative of Judaism. They think they've redefined Judaism to include this kind of open borders, no borders, no nations crap. That ain't it here. That's not Judaism. Judaism is very self-protective, and this thing of opening up, it's not part of Judaism. If it was, then the one Jewish country in the world would reflect that. And we've got some of the strongest borders on the planet. We defend them ferociously, as we should. We build walls where necessary. We build fences where necessary. And we keep the whole bloody thing running. Because if we didn't have these borders and walls, our country would disappear in a heartbeat because our neighbours would overrun it with tanks. So, you know, it's not really it's not a very difficult thing to understand. Anyway, I'm going to talk with someone who really does know the far right, and I think we're going to have a discussion that nobody else is willing to have, and it will be honest and contain much more information than anybody else is ever going to do, because essentially the mainstream, and even some of the non-mainstream, is just dominated by voices who are insane with calling everybody they don't like far right or Nazis. Anyway, I am going to finish. I shall bring my drone in to wave at myself. Where am I? Can you see Brian with a red hat? There I am. Good to talk to you all, and catch you the next time I go live.